What's going on, guys? Belleair here. Day 2 is wrapped, and it just seems like this World Championship is really going to deliver. We have a ton of teams that we thought were going to be in contention beforehand, and while the deck is shuffling a little bit, it still seems like there's a lot of teams who are kind of, in tow here who could potentially win this whole thing. We're starting out with one of the favorites in that category. And on the point of view of someone who is kind of going to be the topic of this video, I figured instead of breaking down a single series, since there were so many that excited me, it might be better if instead we spotlight some players who I've really been intrigued by and following their storylines throughout here. Two of them are in this matchup, and we probably won't get a full game to cover the other, who is Banana Head, who just missed this shot, who has just been on a tear for this Power team as they look to, break the long-standing drought in playoff appearances they've had since Season 6, when his teammate Torsos actually was a part of a Chiefs roster. But I digress, as Daniel gets a little too under that one, a little too powerful from Atomic to be able to follow up. But in spotlighting some players, we're going to start out with Daniel. Who is right there on the goal line as Power is going to open up the scoring here in Game 4. Spoiler alert, G2 are going to win this series 3-1. And I got to say, Power had a big win over Gen G yesterday. It seemed like it might just be, it was obviously a stunner. But Power are no joke. And before we talk about Daniel, I'm already sidetracking myself on the point of this video, but the way that they've been doing this, being so competitive, is a lot through the physicality that we just saw right there. Torsos leads the entire field. I think he's at like 2.8 demos per game or something crazy like that. And Banana Head's over 2 demos per game as well. So they're really trying to muck these up, really trying to use speed and pace to their advantage to catch some demos, get some defenses scrambling, and open up some easy scoring lanes. Of course, G2 are quite possibly the best defense that we have in the world, so they were unable to score in bunches in the same way that Power were able to find a little more success against Gen G, but that's been a huge part of what Power has been doing. Now, for G2, it definitely hasn't been, absolute world domination like what we saw from, some of the Falcons matchups for one. They had a great series against BDS today, which I'm sure we're going to cover one of those players in a game after this. But, Falcons have really been running people over, putting a lot of goals up on the board, and G2 have not been doing the same. They've kind of been doing the gentlemates thing, where it is, hey, we're kind of going to let you beat yourself at your own game. They know that they have the talent advantage. So instead of trying to force things and accidentally putting themselves out of position, they're kind of just taking things as they go. They're totally fine with winning these games, 1-0, 2-1, and just knowing that they'll be able to capitalize on some mistake along the way. But even though they are not running up the scoreboard, Daniel has been just unbelievable for them. Excuse me, but Daniel, I think he could be on track to be the MVP of this World Championship if, obviously everything ends up going in their direction and they walk away with the title. But so far, 1.43 goals per game is basically the highest outside of Falcons, who have just totally, as we talked about, run things up. 0.71 assists per game. By the way, the goals per game leads G2. The assists per game, 0.71. He is tied for first with Beast Mode. 1.57 saves per game. Of course, all of these statistics are small sample size, but he is just below Beast Mode on that. And finally, his 1.29 demos per game leads the charge for G2. And along the way, some huge plays from Daniel, some big, carries. There was one that he had in this series. I think it's probably in an earlier game, where he gets just a beautifully light touch to kind of, this ball is pinging out with a ton of momentum. He catches it, takes away all the momentum with his first touch, keeps directly on it, air rolls into the ball, and ends up just, basically having a layup into the net against the opponent. And here's another beautiful 50 there from Daniel. Let's take another look at this one. So much pace on this one. He's going to scoop this one out later, Fever, and then Banana Head just gets absolutely eaten alive on that dunk. And Torsas isn't quick enough to get back to it. And that's the kind of stuff that Daniel has been doing throughout this event. I walked away from London, even though they won. He was kind of the question mark where he seemed, a little shaky at times. But if they end up doing what they set out to do here, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's the MVP. And there is the death. Daniel, Season 4 Grand Champion. Very impressive tag there. 2 goals, 3 assists on 4 shots as they are going to finally cut the power off of Team Power. Oh my God, guys. I'm on fire as they put up, a very respectable fight here. I don't know who they have tomorrow, but we'll go over matchups at the end here. That's a little bit of context on Daniel. Let's hop over to our next player that we were spotlighting. All right, game 3 between Carmine Core and Team Furia here, or just Furia. I always like to add team to everybody, but just Furia. And we're on board with Lostt, who, Furia for a long time over the last couple of seasons, the offense has never been a question. They clearly have just flamethrowers for shooters on the offensive end, and really the question for them has always been, can they, find their steely resolve on the defensive end, especially in big moments. And, defense is kind of the great differentiator here. Like, anybody can score. All of these players are so gifted mechanically that's not really the question. It's, can you, be good enough to shut down the offense of your opponent? And one of the best offenses that we have in this competition, in my opinion, despite them losing today, is Carmine Core here. And, you would assume in past events that this would turn into a complete track meet. We'd see, 5-goal games, 3-4 score lines, OTs, just, really going back and forth. And that was not really the case. And a big part of that, in my opinion, was this player that we are on cam with, and that is Lostt, who, really was able to lock things down defensively. Yan might lead them in saves per game, but I feel like in the moments when you need, we'll use a game term, an epic save to, the defense is broken down, you're in a 2v1 or a 1v1, and you need to come up with something ridiculous. In a lot of these situations, is Drufinho is going to get a stretching defensive save there. A lot of them have been Lostt, who's going to turn that one away. A pretty good strike, but not a great one there from Carmine Core. Something else that he has been able to do very well is still stay involved offensively. Not only tied for the most goals for Furia in this series, but also holding it down for them in the assist category as well. So somebody who has been pretty even across the board. And I feel like a lot of players that I'm realizing I'm going to be spotlighting in this video and beyond are kind of those, those middle players, those X factors, if you will, who could turn a series or an event on its head for you. And I think we all know the gifts that Yan has, especially on the offensive end. Drufinho is a pretty proven commodity there too. Not that Lostt isn't, but they ask a lot of him defensively. And he's been a little shaky in the past because that was not his role on previous teams, as he is going to get demoed as third man there, but luckily this one is going to pop directly back to him. Tries to go for an infield pass to Yan, a little dangerous, and we'll communicate to get that one over to Drufinho there. As we're going to slow it down a little bit here. He's just going to pop this one. It looks like they being Carmine Core, are really trying to go for some demos here. and it's worked out a couple of times. But you know, Rise on the other side, I know this is a lost game here, but Rise has been, I would say, pretty disappointing so far over the course of this event. I feel like Vatira is really in form, but you know, the thing about Carmine is they just look a little like discombobulated, a little out of sorts. Like they team bump each other pretty often, especially when they're transitioning back on defense. Like you'll see them, maybe it's just stylistically where they're trying to bunch up, but you'll see them really trip each other up quite a bit, as Rise is going to get way too heavy of a touch on that one, and that one will get saved as Achow tries to put that one on. But back to Lostt, you know, he's kind of the player who, if you're going to actually win this event, you need to be popping off in a big way, and you know, so far he has been. They're going to get matched up against Falcons tomorrow, which you know, I think Falcons, just based on the tear that they've been on, are probably going to eat them up. But you know, can't doubt Furia out, as they've sustained on the defensive end here for quite a while, and Lostt with the, I remember that one live. He gets like a pre-roll so that he can cover all the angles, and then he's going to send that one away. Sends that one away with ease as well. Seems like he does air roll left on a lot of his kind of defensive stuff, as that one is finally going to fall in as we get close to the end of the game there. But you know what? They sustained a minute of straight offensive pressure from Carmine Core. They did eventually collapse, but you know, I feel like that would have been an easier scoring opportunity for Carmine in the past, and a big reason for that improvement is Lostt, who is totally out of this play. But what are we doing here? Rise gets dunked into another time zone there, and then Vatira is just way too late on this rotation. Watch this. Vatira turns way too late. Drafinio dusts him. That's how does get a save, but it is put away by Yan, who rocking a pretty clean preset. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. And we're probably going to find death here pretty quick, as they try to go for the fake. Yan is going to bump Atao off of the play, and that is Lostt, although he does not get a goal or an assist, locking it down on the defensive end and peppering the net with shots to try and allow them to break out there against Carmine Core. I've been really impressed by Lostt in this Furia squad. I think I power ranked them in the tweet I put up pre-event. I think I had them, what, 6th? That sounds about right. Actually, I think I had them 7th, below Vitality and then Gen G, and I might have been a little low on them, but still to be determined. My power ranking has not been on the Swiss stage for Furia. We all know how good they are there. It has been how they have been able to show up, or rather, in their case, not show up in some of these big games down the stretch in international LAN playoff games. So that's Lostt and Furia. Let's hop over to our next player and keep this train rolling. All right, we're actually going to do 2 games for ExoTiiK, because I would like to show you the duality of man, as it were. You know, the good and the bad. In this game 1 against Team Falcons, we are going to see ExoTiiK just shred Falcons in a pretty impressive way. You know, it's weird how BDS is they're really trying to do like an up pace, up tempo kind of thing, as ExoTiiK's going to find the seam there to open up the scoring early in this series. They really like to play up pace. Not only are they taking almost the most shots per game in this event, you probably won't be surprised to hear that the team taking the most shots is Falcons, after they absolutely beat the pulp out of Gladiators in round 1, and then they're going up against a BDS team who has some defensive foibles, we'll call them. But right behind them is BDS, who just really love to get the offense going early and often. But they are kind of feast or famine, where we will see them either, you know, really run over a team, or similar to Gen G, who have shown a penchant for, you know, giving up 5 or 6 goals in a game. BDS can do the same, and that is a great redirect up quick, up early, and with power as well from ExoTiiK to just really tear open a wound here in this game one that Falcons are probably going to struggle to get out of. ExoTiiK might have been able to take a beat, but I understand that he probably thought the defense might think he was going to take a beat, so he slowed it down. But, you know, ExoTiiK was a player that I'm kind of, you know, having a referendum on. I had him very low in my pre-Worlds power rankings. I guess very low is relative, but very low relative to where his teammates and other top, you know, French players are. And it's kind of been due to his inconsistency. And, you know, I thought I would spotlight a couple games here that kind of show that, where sometimes he can just leave you hanging in big moments, especially on the defensive end, where they ask him to do, you know, quite a bit, especially when they're trying to play up tempo. Monkey Moon is certainly the most common third man, but, you know, ExoTiiK had some struggles down the stretch last season when he was on Carmine Corps in big games on the defensive end, and that's something that still plagues him. Although I will say, I started out by saying I'm having a referendum on him. I had no idea until I put out that stat guide, which I still, you know, I don't put out much evergreen content, but hopefully that one is something that has, you know, some residual value for a little bit here. But when I was putting together that stat guide, I had no idea how dominant he had been offensively, especially in the goal scoring category. And, you know, that's something that we've really seen continue out throughout this event as well. He just is such a great striker. He uses this Finnick so well. I remember Johnny Boy, like earlier in the season, made fun of him calling ExoTiiK a bot Finnick, or maybe it was last season, just with the way that he is able to use every square inch of his car to, you know, make impact plays, especially getting quality 50s and, you know, hitting the ball with force and all that good stuff. But in this game, you know, his ability to just really heat up like a microwave put Falcons in a hole pretty early here. That opening goal and then the redirect, I think he has 2 so far. I could be incorrect. But, you know, that ability has really shown itself. And then how good he can be in the midfield, like here. That's not necessarily the midfield, but cutting ahead of the defensive play and then cutting this one out. He is just so good at, you know, moving the ball down the pitch. And then once it's there, if he's up front with a little bit of boost of momentum, keeping the ball there, very tough to get past, as Kaliers is going to completely whiff, put his twin in a rough spot. Drali is going to pounce, and then ExoTiiK has the finger roll layup to put them ahead by a hat trick here. And, you know, these game ones we're kind of seeing where they don't always really matter. You know, Gen G, I think, beat Power in game one and then got absolutely roasted. And, you know, Falcons are going to get torn apart here, but then they are going to respond forcefully. And we're going to see one of those games right after this. But there's ExoTiiK. You know, maybe it's a comms thing, but flat-footed, really had no chance of getting up to that ball, as he's going to absolutely delete that opportunity by Roas. Luckily, Falcons are bunched up, so TRK can keep it rolling. But, yeah, kind of the give and take of ExoTiiK. Up quick to this one. Great redirect. Look at that transition down the pitch. Is going to see if TRK will get to this. Tries to get the pop, and then here's what we show up for with the Lostt style goal. Look at this one. Ahead of the play, never out of it. Monkey Moon throws it ahead, 18 boost, uses a little bit of it to redirect, and then top right. That is beautiful from ExoTiiK to really drive the sword through Team Falcons in this debut game of the series. You know, I still think BDS are, you know, certainly in contention to be a dangerous team throughout this tournament. I do think if I had to re-rank the power rankings after 2 days, I would have Gentlemates ahead of them as well. And, you know, Vitality looked decent as well. I think I'd probably have Furia ahead of BDS as well. And, wow, look at you, belleair. You just chose all the teams that are ahead of them record-wise, but I feel like it's kind of been shown out. BDS dominant here as ExoTiiK, 4 of 5, 80% shooting and a save to his name. Doesn't need to get any assists. That's what Monkey Moon is for. And that was a great offensive game from him. Let's hop over to game 3 of this same series as we're even 1-1. All right, I hope I chose the right game. I was trying to remember this and I like scribbled some notes, but again, I was working throughout the day, so I was trying my best to watch, but you know, sometimes duty calls, as it were. In this one, we are going to see, you know, Falcons in game 2 really put the clamps down on BDS, and furthermore, they really started to get it going offensively, especially Clears, who had such an excellent series, especially in the goal scoring category. It's easy to remember because he's using one of the sickest goal explosions out of anybody in this tournament, and that's a sweet little pass here by ExoTiiK, huh? The little scoop, finesse under, the little boop pass right to Drolly. Oops, actually hit tab, but you saw the goal. It's a pretty nice way to get us going here, huh? This, by the way, if I remember correctly, is the 199th game of a LAN game of TRK and Monkey Moon's careers. Game 4 is actually their 200th, which was pretty cool to see. Especially after Torsos just hit his 200th LAN game yesterday, having been around much longer. It shows not only how we have more, you know, LANs more often, but also how the structure is allowing them to play more games. And furthermore, no offense to Torsos, when you're not making playoffs and getting best of 7s, it takes a little longer to accrue 200. But we see BDS kind of trapped here. ExoTiiK at a boost is very fortunate that that one spawns. Now Monkey Moon is going to actually cheat up to midfield to take that boost. ExoTiiK is left all alone back here. Heavy first touch is going to get beat out by Rawas. Monkey Moon is going to try and get this one over to the opposite corner, and this was a lot of what BDS were going through over the course of this series. Just really getting stuck in their own defensive third, and you know, they're the most dangerous where they can get out and run, and if you can't get out and run, it's kind of tough to score a lot of goals. As Monkey Moon and ExoTiiK try and not trip over each other here. ExoTiiK is going to get the pop. TRK is going to easily clear that one out, and ExoTiiK with no boost is way out of this play for the time being. This one here is the first of the issues that I was spotlighting with ExoTiiK on the defensive end. Plenty of time to react to this one. He probably doesn't think that Drolly is going to get, you know, clean roasted to that one and get no touch, but a bit of an awkward takeoff made that one tough to save. Although I will say it was an absolute screamer by Rawas, so fair play, I suppose. Respawning back here, this one's going to pop up. ExoTiiK is going to bump into Monkey Moon, and then they're both going to go for the ball. In tripping over one another, TRK is going to steal that corner boost, which is going to leave Drolly ahead all by himself, and ExoTiiK with no boost is going to get dusted there as well. They're both trying to go back for their own corner again, really starting to trip over one another defensively, we see here. ExoTiiK showing off some of that bot Finnick action. No air roll, just a straight up powerful takeoff there towards the ball. This one's going to get popped. Tries to get it over. Rawas is going to dunk him, and that chip could have been dangerous there. Little things like that where, you know, you could have maybe gone over to the corner or tried to, you know, give it a little more loft to put it over the top of him instead of just trying to drive it directly through him. But hey, also much easier said than done when watching it back, right? I'm also like a champ level player, so it's not like it's like, oh, if that were me, like I understand there's levels to this. Kill there in the middle, and ExoTiiK. It looks like, he almost had it, but if we watch this back one more time, we see here 33 boost, and then we're going to pause, and can I move the camera? No, here, let's go to another point of view. What you're going to see in the corner here is a boost. You see that? So ExoTiiK does not have anything in the tank right now, and this full boost is here. So let's hop back over to him. I'm sure you're loving this beautiful camera work that I got going on. 3 boost in the tank is going to miss that. If he would have cut it just a little bit farther, Maybe he could have had more boost to get over to that one. But it was also a shot into the bottom left. So maybe if he took that extra, micro action to get over to collect that boost, he would have been too slow anyways. But I'm sure he probably was trying to get the boost. So we'll call that 2 defensive oopsies so far in this game, which so far has led to all the offense that Falcons have been able to produce. Still dangerous here. Going to collect. Pop this one out. Tries to go middle there for Monkey Moon, but just a little bit tough of a spot for him. And I'm not just going to turn this into an ExoTiiK boohoo fest because, like I said, I've been really impressed by him outside of, I think this game is probably the biggest eyesore that he's had in this event thus far. Against a very good team, by the way, like potentially the best in the world. So, all the grains of salt possible here for ExoTiiK. Under this ball, this game's slowing down just a little bit as these teams are jockeying for position. And again, ExoTiiK's got to play off the pennies, can't find anything. Gets up here. Kalir's has a lot of momentum. Great kill with that Finnick to put the absolute bottom, or excuse me, the top of the car directly on the ball to kind of squash all the momentum there. Tries to pop this one out. Can't quite do it. Is trying to get in the way here. Drolly is going to go off the corner. This was such an incredible play. So the angles are covered here, right? Monkey Moon's going to crunch this one. The goal is covered, right? TRK has the top, Ruas has the bottom. Anywhere Drolly's going to go with this, they're going to save it. So what does he do? Puts it off the back wall. Ruas tries to put it in reverse. TRK tries to stretch for it, and it's an easy goal for ExoTiiK. Drolly's been doing smart stuff like that the whole event. Kalir's going to pass over to his twin, who gets demoed. ExoTiiK gets up to this awkward. Tries to drop it down for Monkey Moon, but they're probably okay with this going overtime. Not yet. ExoTiiK tries to pop out. Now we take overtime. And again, this is game 3. We're tied 1 apop, so pretty important game here to go on to match point. Ton of time and space afforded over to ExoTiiK. Tries to go for the flick, just not quick enough. Monkey Moon with the double off the side. Tries to delay this one. Beats Kalir's. Luckily, TRK was tucked into that corner there. ExoTiiK is going to backflip out of that one. And that's all she wrote. I think that's a Kalir's hat trick, if I'm not mistaken. Did ExoTiiK get called off of this? Is that what happened? I don't think so, because it's not like Monkey Moon is going to make a play on this. Maybe ExoTiiK just thinks he's beat, although he's not. And you can kind of see him and Monkey Moon. See, Monkey takes this little stutter step. Watch the line he's driving in. He's going to try and... Oh, is that me? Oh, he kind of kills his own boost. Ends up getting totally dunked. And then ExoTiiK, no momentum on the goal line, is going to give that one up. So the way I look at it, hey, if you want to take 1 or 2 of these and call it a dice roll, that's fine by me. But I call that 3 defensive lapses leading to 3 goals there. So, while we saw the absolute, stunner that ExoTiiK was able to put up in game 1 there to get them on the scoreboard early and often, we see, the kind of defensive lapses that plagued him in this game. But hey, that's not something that you can't bounce back from. Falcons are also an opponent that make it very, very difficult for defenses to get set. And, it's tough to always make those plays, but only 1 series. I'm sure BDS are going to try to bounce back tomorrow. I think they're actually playing against Gen G, but we'll do, for what it's worth, we'll do a little rundown after this. So maybe 1 more game from another player. So we will be back in just a moment to wrap this video up. Final game. What could have possibly been the best game in series of the day here? Game 7, Gentlemates against Vitality. And we got Seikoo on deck, who is going to save absolutely everything in this final game. Itachi talked in the post-game interview about how in games like this, it's less about strategy and it's more just about being in the moment and being composed in these big moments. And there are a few who seem to display more composure than Seikoo, of course, a former world champion, but also somebody who is just very stoic by nature. You know, a little bit of a pop off after big goals, after big game and series wins. But all in all, when you compare him to the group, as it were, Seikoo displays very little emotion. He is a killer, and we are going to see him absolutely. The extra alliteration is important because of how good he was defensively. Absolutely lock down Vitality here. And like I said, probably the best game of the day. Maybe the tournament thus far. These are two teams that have played each other quite a bit, so they both know each other's styles. That's something that Itachi also spoke about post-game. So it is kind of just down to, you know, adjusting as the other team adjusts to kind of meet the counter punches that they're going to throw at you. Excuse me, but at the end of the day, just getting the outplays when they matter. You know, something that I saw, ball chasing has these heat maps, as Seikoo is just going to very casually dodge that bump attempt. They have these heat maps on ball chasing, and Seikoo, you know, we don't have like another huge demo avoidance there by Seikoo, who is just so casual and hopping over that one. But, you know, we don't have left or right-handedness in the same way that we do in traditional sports. But if we did, Seikoo is so left-handed. He gobbles up so much boost on the left side of the pitch as he's going to float up and take this one off of Zen here. Not just defensively sound on the goal line. But he takes so much, especially of the mid big boost. He took it like 11 times, and I think this back one he took like 6 times. So Seikoo is somebody who definitely gets to collect a lot of the big boosts that Gentlemates have provided to them. And it seems like Vitality split it a little more evenly, with Alpha actually being somebody who gets quite a few boost steals, which I didn't necessarily associate with Alpha. Maybe it's more of a matchup thing against here against Gentlemates. We talked about Gentlemates earlier in this video. They've been playing it pretty similar to what we had seen from G2. Control is the name of the game. Don't let the other team beat you, and you won't beat yourself. It's kind of their mantra, it seems like. Not a ton of goal scoring coming out of this Gentlemates team. Itachi is leading them in goals per game. I think he's at like 0.6 or something right now, and Seikoo's at like 0.5. As a beautiful play here by Seikoo to get things open in this champs field. Look at this. Takes it off the hood of Erdosin, laters in, gets completely boxed out of that one, allows Juicy to slot that one upper 90. And now we got a ball game here. Stumpy had said that when he was calling this series that the team who had won had held the other team to a shutout in the 4 games before. So you could kind of presume by that Gentlemates were going to be able to win this one, as Juicy gets denied on a pretty nice double attempt there. And Seikoo just trying to keep this one in, get on top of Alpha. Juicy is going to get a little bit stretched there as the defensive third once his teammate gets, turned around in the corner, and that is going to even up the scoring here. Did I derail myself off of the point I was making? Seikoo says, see ya. Not going to fall for that one. Just stays grounded after popping to get over a couple other demos. He is aware that they're going after him, and he is just simply avoiding them. You know, not the coolest preset in the world. I can't remember. What is this one? This isn't your bands, I don't think. Is this, what's it called? It's like lines or something. Something lines. I used this on my Finnick for a while, and I like that he's incorporating the gray. This is like something that I might use, honestly, but it looks a little heavy, and that makes sense because I'm not very good. More of a grounded demo merchant is kind of my gameplay style. You know, get ahead of the ball, drive with force. I'm like Drufinio with none of the mechs, and also not on a keyboard and mouse. But I like that Seikoo is showing a little creativity here. We know that he's going to rock the titanium white Yeehaw goal explosion. That's kind of his specialty. As Seikoo is going to try and absolutely carve up the defense here in the waning seconds. Just kind of showing... Isn't it crazy that, like, the biggest moment here, later Radosin, almost later Alpha to go top bins, bumps Radosin off the ball. Like, Seikoo is not afraid of the moment. Getting into overtime here. Seikoo's done a bit of work defensively. But, you know, it's also been in the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. The dodges on the bumps that, you know, could have made them a little more susceptible to an offensive attack by Vitality. Being able to cut down some of these plays early in the midfield from Vitality as well have been important. And, you know, Vitality is a story in and of themselves. I did a video on them pre-Worlds. Do they still have that magic left? It seems like yes and no. I think the big thing that they've lost, like, this is something that, like, the Golden State Warriors dealt with when they were, you know, a dynasty, where it's like teams aren't really, like, afraid of you anymore. Like, sometimes where it's like, it's the Warriors, we're gonna lose. Well, then next season you get everybody's best effort, and, you know, kind of the fear that you strike into some people just wanes a little bit, because they're like, all right, like, you're probably gonna beat us, so, like, whatever. And that whatever kind of instills a sense of confidence, whether deserved or not. I feel like it's kind of similar with Vitality, where, like, these teams just know that they can battle them. Also, the fact that we got Zen so late into the season last year, it was almost like it was a new team in some senses. So, you know, they kind of had that, like, mystique to them. And also Zen was just, you know, on a real tear. Seikoo tries to redirect that one up pitch and get that one on, unable to do so. Is going to just back off of this one. It is overtime, backs off of that one as well. Not going to overcommit and lose this. Knows that an opportunity will probably prevent itself, as Juicy is going to flick that one over the top. And I think it was Seikoo. Ooh, a little voice crack. Ooh, I think it was Seikoo in this series where he got this, like, crazy, like, 1v1, like a musty kind of, like he put the ball on the front of his hood and then kind of just, like, musty flicked, but without momentum, and it just absolutely, like, yeeted the ball ahead of him. I think it was Seikoo. I could be misappropriating that shot, but it was pretty cold if it was him. Radosin's going off the ceiling. Seikoo says, get out of here. Not in my house. And it looks like Gentlemates have been pretty comfortable on the defensive end here. And that's kind of, you know, the thing about Vitality, where it's like, you know, they don't really seem like they're throwing a lot of stuff super threatening on board. But, hey, Gentlemates are a very, very good team. Seikoo is just going to power hit that one out. Going to lob that one out. And it seems like that's a lot of what Seikoo has been doing in this one, where it's just like beat after beat, where it's like nope, and nope to that one, and nope to that one as well. You know, all stuff that isn't showing up on the stat sheet, as they like to say. Gonna get the beat there, gonna try and bump Zen out of this play, get a corner boost steal, and now we have it on the other end. After all of that sustained pressure, Gentlemates are trying to lock down Vitality here. And looks like they're trying to get kind of a pancake onto the back wall and have it drop down into the box. Maybe get a demo along the way, as Seikoo is just going to smoothly dodge that demo as well. I think I've counted 4. Take a huge 50 there with no boost. Another huge 50 with no boost. Just really getting beneficial outcomes in most of his interactions with Vitality in this series. Passes this one over to Juicy. Keeps it low on the ground. The decisive pass over to Seikoo was a little telegraphed, but then that one is going to roll in. And I was so curious to watch this one when it happened. So this one gets popped out to the corner, and Alpha just totally whiffs on this one. I thought because it's so close, right? I thought he might have got like bumped out from behind by Juicy. Because look, like when you're watching it live, and then of course immediately after they cut to like reactions, I thought right there Juicy caught him, but it looks like Alpha just kind of flubbed this one. That's not Alpha. This is Alpha. Just completely flubs it. And that's how the series ends. And, I guess that's kind of a, I won't say kind of vitality, because again, they've been so good. And, their worst result this season, Radosin was sick. I think that was in Copenhagen. And then they lost to Furia, who have like really been, um, you know, they've had a rivalry this season. And as we saw earlier in this video, Furia have been excellent as well. So Vitality are still very much in the hunt. But I feel like I power ranked them about right. I think I had them 6th. But yeah, guys, those are some players and teams that have really caught my interest in this tournament so far. What other players have you been really interested in watching, not only their gameplay, but seeing how their story is going to unfold over the course of this event? Please let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you helping out the content to get it to a wider audience by commenting, but also, something that I think I'm trying to keep really front of mind with this whole process, as if this video isn't long enough. Something I'm trying to keep front of mind with this process is I think the communal aspect of this is really important. The Rocket League community has, given me a lot in a lot of different ways, and so I want to be respectful and try and help build the community in whatever small way I can. So thank you for participating in what we got going on here in multiple different ways. Please let me know in the comments below what other players you have been keeping your eyes on. And again, guys, I'm going out of town, so this may or may not be the last video you see from me until post Worlds, but the content will keep flowing like a river afterwards. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, guys, take it easy.